Berlin, a city that rose from rubble. The Berlin Wall is now a 1.3-kilometer painting of hope. Old bunkers have become music halls. Trains and tunnels carry both memories and dreams. Every sound, every wall, every brick tells a story. A story of pain turned into color. A story of division turned into art. In Berlin, the past never truly ends. It lives beside the present. Walk its streets, and you can feel history breathe. Touch the walls, and you can hear the whispers of the past. But look closer, and you'll see something more. Hope growing where fear once stood. This isn't just a city of memories. It's a living classroom where every mural, every cafe, and every beat of music teaches how to heal without forgetting. Because Berlin doesn't erase what broke it, it paints over it with courage. From the Brandenburg Gate at sunrise to the East Side Gallery at night, you'll see why this city is more than a place. It's a heartbeat of rebirth. Stay till the end, because by the time this story fades, you'll understand why Berlin 2025 is not just a city to visit. It's a story to feel. Before the street art and the music, Berlin was a city divided by walls and fear. In 1961, the Berlin Wall went up overnight. Families woke on different sides. The streets went silent, and soldiers watched from tall towers. You can still feel that quiet when you walk here. For almost 30 years, the city lived in two halves. The East was under Soviet rule, and the West stood with the Allies. Every building, every road still remembers that time. People tried to cross the wall. Some made it. Many did not. The air back then was heavy with hope and danger. Then came 1989, and everything changed. The wall fell. People cried, laughed, and climbed over broken concrete. They painted the grey walls with bright colors. Art took the place of fear. Today, if you visit the Bernauer Straße Memorial, you can still see the old wall and the guard towers. But the mood is different now. The silence has turned into music, the pain into color. Berlin did not hide its scars. It turned them into art. And that is where its story of rebirth begins. In 1990, the Berlin Wall came down. Most of it was torn apart by people who wanted to move on. But one long stretch, 1.3 kilometers along the Spree River, was left standing. Not to remember the fear, but to celebrate freedom. It became the East Side Gallery, a place where art turned pain into peace. Artists from 21 countries came here to paint. They didn't hide what happened, they faced it. Every color spoke of hope. Every mural told a story that words could never hold. Today, the East Side Gallery is the longest open-air gallery in the world. Over 100 murals cover the wall, from the famous fraternal kiss to the Trabant car breaking through concrete. These images are now icons, seen by millions every year. Even in 2025, the wall keeps changing. Some of the same artists return to fix their work, painting over time's cracks. The wall still breathes, still speaks, still remembers. The air here feels different. Part museum, part playground, part dream. But this wall is only the beginning. Across Berlin, the past still stands tall, in stone, steel, and silence that refuses to fade. Berlin's history doesn't sit inside museums, it walks beside you. Every street, every corner carries the sound of the past. Soldiers once marched here. Dreamers rebuilt here. Survivors kept walking when the city fell silent. Start at the Brandenburg Gate. Long ago, it stood trapped between East and West, a wall of silence cutting the world in half. Now, it stands for unity. When morning light hits its tall columns, it feels like the city itself is taking a deep breath. A few blocks away is Checkpoint Charlie. Today, it's filled with tourists and photos. But in 1961, this was where Soviet and American tanks stared each other down, engines rumbling, guns ready, the world holding its breath. Walk further and you'll reach the memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe. 2,711 grey slabs rise and fall like waves. Step inside, and the noise of the city disappears. You feel lost, small, and quiet, exactly as the artist meant you to feel. Berlin remembers its pain, but it doesn't stop there. It rebuilds, it reinvents, it creates rhythm from ruins. And that rhythm is what draws travelers from around the world to walk these streets again. After the wall came down, East Berlin was a city of empty buildings and quiet ruins. Old factories stood broken. Soviet blocks crumbled. Most cities would have cleared them away. But Berlin didn't destroy its scars. It turned them into something new. Abandoned halls became art studios. Empty warehouses turned into clubs. Cracked walls became canvases. Where sirens once screamed, now music and laughter echo late into the night. The city found rhythm in the ruins. One famous spot was Tacelli's, an old department store taken over by artists in the 1990s. Inside, they painted, sculpted, and performed, building a new identity for a broken city. Though it's gone now, its energy still lives in places like Raw Gelände, a former train yard filled with graffiti, markets, and open-air stages. Down by the river sits Holzmarkt, a small village built by artists who refuse to let money erase creativity. Here, locals share food, music, and freedom, all under strings of warm lights. Every brick in these spaces carries a heartbeat. Every color fights against silence. And if there's one neighborhood where that heartbeat never stops, it's Kreuzberg, where the smell of paint, coffee, and rebellion still fills the air. Kreuzberg was once the rough edge of West Berlin, a border neighborhood pressed against the wall. Back then, rent was cheap, and the streets were full of energy. Immigrants, artists, and dreamers moved in. What they built together became the beating heart of modern Berlin. Here, graffiti climbs the walls like ivy. Music spills from kebab stands. Vintage shops sit beside new cafes. Every wall speaks. Every color has meaning. Street art here isn't decoration, it's a voice. Walk down Oranienstraße and you'll feel the mix. Turkish markets, record shops, tattoo parlors, and murals that shout against change, all packed into a few blocks. The noise, the smells, the colors. It's messy, but it's real. Stop by Markthalle 9 on a Thursday night. The air smells of spices. You'll see people sharing food from all over the world. Syrian falafel, Vietnamese banh mi, German pretzels, all while a DJ spins soft vinyl beats. This is Berlin's flavor of freedom. Kreuzberg never pretends to be perfect. It's loud, wild, and alive. But what happens when the night deepens? Berlin's rhythm doesn't stop. It just moves underground, where the city's true heartbeat begins. Berlin's U-Bahn is more than a subway. It's a moving gallery beneath the city. Every wall, every tunnel tells a story. The silence of the past has been replaced by color and sound. Down here, the city's hidden heartbeat never stops. Museum Island sits in the heart of Berlin, a UNESCO World Heritage Site filled with 6,000 years of human history. 5 great museums stand side by side, from the Grand Pergamon altar to the famous bust of Nefertiti. Inside these walls, the ancient world meets modern light. Every hall feels like time folded into one space. Berlin is a city that moves in rhythm. After the Berlin Wall fell, Empty buildings filled with sound. Old factories became clubs, and basements turned into techno-temples. The city earned a new name, a place where anyone can create and everything feels possible. At the center of this pulse stands Berghain, a former power plant turned into the world's most famous techno club. No cameras, no rules of fame, only rhythm and light. Inside, people dance for hours, not to escape, but to feel free. And food? The city runs on it. Berlin has more doner kebab shops than Istanbul. Turkish immigrants created the dish here in the 1970s. Now it's as Berlin as currywurst and late-night falafel. Berlin is one of the greenest capitals in Europe, covered with over 2,500 parks. In the center lies the Tiergarten, Berlin's version of Central Park. 210 hectares of trees, lakes, and winding paths that feel like a forest inside a city. On Sunday mornings, Berliners jog through its trails, picnic under tall oaks, or paddle small boats through the calm canals. It's a quiet reminder that Berlin values peace as much as movement, a balance between city life and nature's rhythm. The Spree River runs through it all, reflecting both glass towers at Potsdamer Platz and old stone bridges from another century. Modern steel meets historic brick, and somehow it fits perfectly. At Tempelhofer Feld, a former Nazi-era airport, the runways still stretch across open fields. But now, people kitesurf, skateboard, and barbecue where planes once landed. What was once a symbol of war is now a playground for freedom. Berlin, 2025, a city that rebuilt itself not with noise, but with color and courage. It didn't rise like a phoenix, it grew like art, one wall, one song, one story at a time. Every day, Berlin paints a new layer over its old scars, never hiding them, only blending them into something stronger. Walk through Friedrichshain, past the East Side Gallery, or sit in a Kreuzberg cafe. Ride the U-Bahn under tunnels that once divided the world. Here, past and present live side by side, not fighting, just flowing. Each year, 14 million people visit this city. But for 3.6 million residents from 190 countries, Berlin isn't a trip, it's home. Every accent, every smell, every mural adds another heartbeat to its rhythm. In one day, you can visit a Holocaust memorial, eat Syrian street food, tour a Cold War bunker, and dance in a former power plant. That's not sightseeing, that's living history. Yet Berlin's greatest beauty isn't what it built. It's what it refused to forget, and what it chose to become anyway. A city still becoming, still breathing, still free. Berlin proves that a city can carry both pain and joy without breaking. It doesn't hide the wall, it paints it. It doesn't tear down bunkers, it fills them with music. It doesn't silence its past. It lets artists speak through every wall and corner. While most cities pick between old and new, Berlin chose both. It built glass towers beside relics, parks from airports, and clubs from power plants. Every piece of the city says the same thing. You can rebuild without erasing. And maybe the real lesson isn't about Berlin at all. It's about us, learning to carry our past with honesty, creativity, and hope. Berlin in 2025 is more than just a place to visit. It's proof that even the most broken cities can turn into masterpieces. You may come for the street art, history, and culture, but you'll leave with something deeper, a feeling that change can be beautiful and that every scar can become art. If this story of Berlin inspired you, subscribe for more cinematic travel guides. If you believe cities should remember and rebuild, hit like and turn on notifications. Tell us in the comments, what part of Berlin touched you most? The history, the art, or the rhythm of the streets, because the best cities don't forget, they transform.